Okay, so you were in the original kind of pretty early group of wrestlers there. And then kind of a second group showed up, which was kind of the, I think it's FWE or FXE guys.
Yeah, yep.
How did their coming in kind of change the product?
It lifted it. It gave it, I would say, a little bit more credibility. They're good workers. They worked well together. I knew a couple of them, as a matter of fact, myself personally, because I had gone out to FXE when I first came down here. So guys like the Biff, Bobby Fonta, I knew those guys. I worked out with them. And they work really well. They tell good stories. They sell in the ring. So it just lifted the caliber of wrestling, the storytelling, I think, a little bit more than it had been previous.
Okay. When you were there, who were the leaders backstage, and what made them the leaders? Either officially or unofficially, the leaders.
There was no leaders, man. It was like factions, man. You'd have like 3 guys in one corner, 4 in another, and people would just be spread out all over the place in the lot in the back. There was no, I would say, no locker room leaders, to be honest.
How organized was it backstage?
Not.
How would you give an example?
They'd put up a run sheet at the time that the show was supposed to start. And then as the show would progress, they'd change match from like a 3-way to a tag team, and it would just change like on the fly within moments of you going into the ring. It was like that.
Can you tell me about that ring?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. I don't mind bumping. Bumping doesn't really hurt me too much. I think the worst thing that ever happened to me is I did a baseball slide drop kick to somebody outside, and there was no mat where I hit. It was just all wood, so I had like, a huge bruise, and it was pretty raw from sliding, and just kind of was like it wasn't very nice. But apart from that, I never had a problem.
Okay. Do you know anything about Joe Bob's and how that affected the product, the actual building and everything?
It was tiny. It wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing joint, you know what I mean? But it was still a place to have a show. And any place you can put a show and get people in to see it, it's still a good place. But the people from the building itself were they seemed like they were unhappy to have people in there and to be making money at the same time.
Why did you leave? Because there was a revolving door, so to speak, of people in and out. Why did you leave?
Well, I left once, and then I was asked to come back. And they were like, "Please come back." I was going up. I was there from pretty much the beginning, so I would go up and have matches with guys who obviously hadn't really been trained and stuff. The backyarder, and I had several matches with backyarders, and just so I would sell for them and put them over, and I'd never had a problem because wrestling, you wrestle, you win or you lose, regardless of which, you come back and you get in there and you do it again. A lot of people didn't like that over there. They wanted to, they were all stars and stuff, so it was difficult that way. But I did what I was asked, and then like little girls in high school, like things were being said that there was no need for, had no real ground, and I don't have time for that. So rather than deal with that, because I was taking a day out of my week driving in traffic for an hour and a half to get there, and and I was like, you know what? Rather than go over there and try to help them to build something, I just separated myself. And then Dirk Manning was a friend of mine, and he was going over there and helping out, and they were asking him to bring me back, basically to talk to me, and they wanted to smooth some stuff out, and and it was not an issue, not a problem, big enough to say, whatever, you apologize, okay, let's get back to work and try to accomplish something together. And we went back, and it was just a lot of the same. It was very disorganized, chaotic, and just you go out of your way to do something nice and try to help somebody, for nothing, basically. Right. And you just talked ill about and looked down upon. And again, I don't have time for that. I'm a grown man, and rather than feed into that, I just separate myself from the situation.
Lastly, is there anything that you just wanted to cover about, like the PWE history?
Oh, I'm grateful for PWE in the sense that it was a place when I first got back into working. I was fortunate enough to there's a place in Ruskin go in the beginning of the month, and that's where I met Luis Matos. And we were talking about things that we had in common and interests and stuff, and that's when he was discussing with me about how he wanted to run a show with a couple of his friends, and I told him how I wanted to do something myself, and just gave me his number, and I went up there the following week with a couple of my friends, and they were like, hey, you got your gear? And I was like, yeah, and I ended up working for them that way, and I met a lot of cool guys, man, you know, a lot of young wrestlers like myself who were just looking for the opportunity and the place to take it. And so I'm grateful for that, because I met a lot of the workers here in Central Florida through Eclipse, and a lot of cool people.
As a promoter, did it help you get a gauge for the talent in Florida?
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, I'm really new at this myself personally, so I'm not, you know, as proficient as I'd like to be, maybe in time. But it did. You know, the guys who would go out there and work every week wouldn't complain about things that would go bad, because it was Eclipse, so you had to know something was going to go bad, you know, and just really had a passion for what they were doing, really wanted to be a part of wrestling in whatever atmosphere, whatever it took to be a part of wrestling. The guys who have come over to DWI were the guys that were like displaying that. They were willing to do whatever it took to get to a show and to deal with it, and those guys are really nice guys, so I'm really glad for that. And I think that was the question you asked me, I'm sure. It wasn't.
Did you learn about Florida wrestling? I think you did. Like, I think I got what I needed. I appreciate
Cool,
it.
sweet.